Shalom Akim. Kol halayim la Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi Bahashem Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. And shalom to the Akwat that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith, and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to you all, Barakatha. Alright, so the picture that you're looking at right now was a photo that I took while I was out, getting some breakfast at, the Clinton Station Diner. You know what I'm saying? And this basically sparked a lesson in me. The spirit, pretty much moved on me and just brought this lesson to mind, because like the level of disgust, you know what I'm saying? The level of disgust that you get, those of us in this truth, the level of disgust that you get when you look at something like this, it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming. So the name of this lesson is going to be, this famine will humble many. This famine is going to humble many. You see what I'm saying? Let me get this together. Salakia. Gotta get my audio together. Bear with me. Alright. So like I was saying, I was at a diner and I was just getting some breakfast, and I saw this. So, a whole lesson came to mind, man. And I just had to bring this out, man, because we're at a time where Babylon is falling. Babylon is falling. You know what I'm saying? It's circling down the drain, as the elder apostle Gabar would say. The elder apostle Gabar would say, it's circling down the drain, man. You know what I'm saying? And this, the level of pride and greed and gluttony, it's at an all-time high in this nation. It's at an all-time high in this empire, right? Where people don't even think twice. Like, we have people out here that's starving. People out here that's starving. You see what I'm saying? Yahawah said that there will always be the poor among you. But this kind of poor is not the same kind of poor that what it was back in the ancient world. You know what I'm saying? Especially not when it was when we, the Israelites, were in power. The poverty, the poor is not the same poor as what we're seeing today, man. Before, back with the poor, you had, at least they had gleaming grapes where they would have the basic necessities of life. You see what I'm saying? They would have the basics, the basic needs met. You see? Here in today's age, you can't even collect rainwater. You can't even collect rainwater without being fined. You see what I'm saying? You can't, the amount of food that we waste in this country alone is just unbelievable. And it's on a daily basis. And this is a what was it? I believe it was a 4-pounder hamburger. 4-pound hamburger. It's a mess. It's a mess. And then they had this whole ad where you had people eating it, and then they shared it among the family and whatnot, and they still couldn't finish the whole burger. And it was like this whole challenge thing, and it's just sickening. It's just sickening. You know what I'm saying? The amount of waste, it sickens me. Right? So that's where this lesson came from. This famine that we about to see, this famine is going to humble so many people. So many people. You see, in the hopeful elect, they're used to fasting. They're used to going without, you know what I'm saying? They're used to praying. They're used to trusting in the Most High, man. But the majority of these people around here, they don't know a thing about none of that. And the irony is that majority of them call themselves Christians. The majority of them profess to be Christians. That's the irony. You see, we are the hopeful elect. We go through these things, man. We go through the process of making our bodies a sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? We go through the process of going without. You know what I'm saying? Just off the fact of you know, we keep these high holy days. Many of these high holy days, you know, including some of these high holy days, like the Day of Atonement, Salakia, the Day of Atonement, we go without, you know what I'm saying? We go without food, we go without water, you know, we afflict our bodies. We afflict our bodies. We go through the pain of needing. You know what I'm saying? We go through that, right? So we can become closer to the Most High, man. Majority of these people out here don't understand what that feels like. They can't even go a couple hours without food. You see, this is Philippians. Let's go to Philippians. And this is the Spirit take me here. This is Philippians chapter 4, verse 11. It says, "Not that I speak in respect of want, for I have learned, in whatsoever state I am, therewith to be content. I know both how to be abased, and I know how to abound. Everywhere and in all things I am instructed both to be full and to be hungry, both to abound and to suffer need." You see what I'm saying? Majority of the people out here that profess to be Christians don't even understand that concept. They don't. They're used to having excess of food, excess of drinks, of beverages, excess. You know what I'm saying? They're used to that, and that's why the Spirit put this lesson on me, man. The famine that's coming is going to humble so many people. It's going to humble everyone. It's going to humble everyone. The prideful. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not even gonna get into these women, man. I'm not even gonna get into these women because they're used to having excess. You see what I'm saying? Excess of attention, excess of this and that. You know, it's going to come down to a boiling point, man. It's gonna come down to a boiling point. Right, and it's about to be. It's not gonna be pretty out here, man. It's not gonna be pretty. It's not gonna be pretty. You know, when I saw this massive hamburger, I said, "This is disgusting." You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, the hamburger may be tasting banging. You know what I'm saying? But the excessive nature behind this dish is disgusting. And that's just a sad sight to see. It's a sad sight to see when you realize, when you think about all those that go without on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? And for what? For this hamburger to get into your body and just, you know, disrupt all kinds of regularities in your system. You know what I'm saying? What was it all for? For vanity. For vanity. That's what it is. Vanity. Let's go to this Ecclesiastes. Let's hit that. I'm not even hitting the precepts I'm supposed to be hitting right now that I wrote down. This is just the Spirit running. You know what I'm saying? Let's get that. Right? Let me get Slack. Let me get Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 8. Right? And it says, vanity of vanities, saith the preacher, all is vanity. All is vanity. Right? All of it is vanity. All this is a waste of time. All this is folly. You know what I'm saying? This is just, it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. Disgraceful. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 30. Right? Proverbs chapter 30, verse 7. It says, 2 things have I required of thee. Deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, not excessive, but food convenient for me. Lest I be full and deny thee, and say, who is Yahawah? Or lest I be poor and steal, and take the name of my power in vain. You see, if you have too much, if you have an excess amount, then you start to think that this is all you're doing. You start thinking, hey man, I don't need the Most High. I got, you know what I'm saying, I got all these stacks of money, man. I got all this, I got all that. You know, look at Floyd Mayweather, for example, right? But then when you go into, you know, the poor or the impoverished, you know, and you start stealing, then what happens? You know what I'm saying? You start taking the Most High's name in vain. You know what I'm saying? You don't trust in the Most High anymore. Now you're just trusting in your hands. Right? Talking about I need to survive. Just think about all these people that's taking this happy juice right now, and they're saying, oh well, you know, well I have to do it to feed my family, to do this, to do that. Well, okay. Where's the faith in the Most High coming? You see what I'm saying? Let's jump to verse 24. Verse 24 says, there be 4 things which are little upon the earth, but they are exceedingly wise. Verse 25, the ants are a people not strong, yet they prepare their meat in the summer. The cunies are but a feeble folk, yet make they their houses in the rocks. The locusts have no king, yet go they forth all of them by bands. Verse 28, the spider taketh hold with her hands, and is in kings' palaces. You see, these are lowly creatures. These are lowly creatures, yet they are exceedingly wise in their doings. You see, all you gotta do is look at the ant, man. The ants are so organized and precise in everything that they do, to where they never want during any season. You know what I'm saying? They never want. Then you look at the cunies. You know what I'm saying? Just like the story with the 3 pigs. One built his house out of straw. One built his house out of sticks. The other one built his house out of bricks. You know what I'm saying? Who was the wisest pig? The wisest one was the one that built his house on sticks, man. The same thing with the cunies. You build your home on these rocks. The rocks that don't falter. Right? Locusts move aimless. Well, it seemingly they move aimlessly. But at the same time, they all have the same purpose, and they all move with that same purpose in mind, on one accord. You know what I'm saying? Those are the locusts. Then you have the spider. And the spider, you can find a spider in any place. You can find a spider in any spot, no matter how lowly that establishment is, or how high that establishment is, man. Like I said, even in the king's palace, you'll find a spider. You know what I'm saying? Because they're very well calculated. Very well calculated. They know exactly what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, King Solomon was able to learn so much from looking at things that was so little. Right? So let's go to 2nd Esdras, man. Let's go to 2nd Esdras chapter 6. Right? And let's go to the precepts that we should all know about. Especially in these times. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 6, verse 22. It says, "And suddenly shall the sown places appear unsown. The full storehouses shall suddenly be found empty." You know what I'm saying? In the video that I'm about to show y'all, I'm about to share with y'all from the Epic Economist, you know, proves just that, man. The storehouses are going to appear empty in a moment's notice, man. People are going to realize, you know, one day these store shelves were full. The next day they're going to be absolutely desolate. You see what I'm saying? The times is coming is going to humble many people, man. Let's go to Sirach chapter 15, verse 49. And it reads, "I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence to waste thy houses with destruction and death." You see, the one way you bring down those that are haughty, those that are prideful, is through death. It's through death. A lot of people change when they're faced with mortality. When they're faced with their own mortality, they start to change. They start to change no matter how peaceful they may seem, no matter how ruthless they may seem. Everybody's true nature comes to the surface when they are faced with their own mortality. You see? Let's go to Sirach. Alright, this is Sirach chapter 39, verse 26. It says, "The principal things for the whole use of man's life are water, fire, iron, and salt, flour of wheat, honey, milk, and the blood of grapes, and oil, and clothing." All these things right here matches everything that meets the human need. Everything that you need is right here listed. Right here listed. You see what I'm saying? You need water. You need fire to stay warm. You need iron in order to build tools. You need your salt for the flavors, right? And that goes into other herbs. You need flour of wheat for your bread, your honey, your milk, all these things for taste. You know what I'm saying? And the blood of grapes. And oil, right? These things are not just for cooking ingredients, but they're also for leisure. Oil is for anointment, right? And then on top of that, you need clothing. You need raiment. You know what I'm saying? You need clothes on your backs. And so many people have forgotten this. So many people have forgotten this basic concept of life. You know, the only thing that takes hold in society today is excessive access. Right? Just a whole mess of gluttony and wastefulness. Let me continue. Verse 27 says, all these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil. And when you look at this massive thing called a hamburger, that's not righteous. That's not godly. That is evil. That's evil. Let me read that again. It says, all these things are for good to the godly. So to the sinners, they are turned into evil. Right? So I'm gonna cut that, man. I wanna show y'all this video, and then I'm gonna close it out. All right. So I pray this was edifying, man. Bear with me.
While the price of everything keeps soaring, shortages are getting more extensive. On the other hand, consumer demand is still at record levels. And now we're seeing empty shelves in just about every corner of our economy. The situation is starting to become quite painful. And as we move closer to the holiday season, shortages are only expected to intensify. That is extremely alarming when we consider that many areas of the economy have already been experiencing severe shortages for a long time. The United States economy is stumbling once again, and many companies that are hanging by a thread are counting on the busy holiday shopping season to make up for the losses suffered throughout this year. But the lack of enough qualified labor and the lack of supplies is likely to compromise their sales and, in turn, put their survival in jeopardy. In a recent article, the research director at the American Economic Liberties Project, and author of Goliath, the 100-Year War Between Monopoly Power and Democracy, Matt Stoller, has pointed out a series of disruptions that have been sparking chaos across our supply chains. It all starts with a historic shortage of ocean shipping containers. Without enough capacity to move goods around the world, the U.S. is facing shortages of everything, from cleaning products to metals, plastics to food. A wide range of household staples is simply gone, and as our key ports remain extremely congested, it seems that there's no relief in sight for this crisis. Economists from around the world are noticing that there's something terminally broken in the U.S. supply chains. And as a result, the economy is facing acute imbalances as shortages disturb pricing and trigger inflation in many unusual segments. Even the Federal Reserve is stressing that this has become a major national problem. In the latest Beige Book, Fed officials stressed the consequences of shortages a whopping 80 times. It's the first time in our modern era that U.S. politicians have been worried about the impact of supply chain bottlenecks on our businesses and consumers, which signals that our highly thinned out supply chains are no longer resilient, as Stoller highlights. The truth is that our lack of strong supply chains has been masked for decades. Then the health crisis came along and sent shock waves all around the economy, exposing many flaws in the system. 40 years of consolidation suddenly met with a crisis that required a social flexibility that our monopolistic commercial systems can no longer provide, Stoller added. And now that the problem has only grown more complex, there's no quick fix that can avert the worsening of the supply chain crisis. A massive wave of shortages evolved from a possibility to a reality. The economic analyst Michael Snyder shared in a recent post one email he received from one of his readers, who described a shocking scene that's been repeated all across the country. The reader lives in Connecticut. During a trip to a local grocery store near Waterbury, he and his wife noticed there were little yellow signs on the shelves where certain stock-keeping units used to be. Not entire lines, but individual SKUs. For example, a flavor of oatmeal, certain cereals, etc. The sign said something to the effect of, "This item is no longer available due to supply chain constraints." He said he found hundreds of such signs all over the store. But it wasn't until they got to the juice or water aisle that they realized the extent of the problem. There was simply no bottled water. Gatorade and other drinks were nowhere to be found. I have befriended the manager over the years, so I asked him where the water is, the reader said. He told me they only will give us so many bottles. I asked who they is, and he said the manufacturer. Water bottles and drinks were being rationed. As he said this, a truck driver happened to walk by and joined in on the conversation. He told us that he just got back from Maine after a 3-day trip, a trip that normally takes him a few hours. He said he and all of the other truck drivers sit at the warehouses for days, waiting for their trucks to be filled. To be clear, I asked him how long it normally takes. He said a few hours at the most, the Connecticut reader continued. On our way out, I remembered that we needed dog food, so we went to the pet aisle, and there was no cat litter and no dog food at all. All of the things experts have been saying about food and water shortages suddenly became reality. I always believed them, but now I was seeing it at the very local level, he added. We then decided to go to PetSmart to get the dog food. Empty. On PetSmart, the entire dog food shelf was empty, he exclaimed. The situation reported by him is just an example of how shortages are fast spreading all over the country. If you are seeing similar things happening at your local store, please share pictures on social media or anywhere you can so we can expose the real proportions of this crisis, because the mainstream media keeps failing to tell the truth to American consumers. Supply shocks in a monopolized economy like ours make the problem much worse. It's clear that the roots of this problem go way beyond supply chains. The big conglomerates that run our economy are inducing even more shortages for the sake of higher profit margins. And when things start to spiral out of control, they will certainly restrain our access to goods just to get what they want. In the meantime, several other factors continue contributing to the aggravation of the container crisis. Right now, port congestion in California is at one of its worst moments since the beginning of the health crisis. According to FreightWaves data, the number of container ships sitting along the west coast waiting to be unloaded in San Pedro Bay off the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach has blown through all previous records. There is currently a staggering backlog of 73 container ships in San Pedro, and according to FreightWaves' Greg Miller, the numbers, already surreally high, could go even higher than this.
All right, so that's coming from the Epic Economist on YouTube. It's about to get dire out here, man. It's about to get real dire. People are about to find themselves doing things that they never thought they would do. You see what I'm saying? They're going to start seeing themselves doing very things that they said they would never do. This is let's end this off with 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 15 verse let's go to verse 55. 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 55, and it says, "The reward of thy whoredom shall be in thy bosom. Therefore shalt thou receive recompense, like as thou hast done unto my chosen, saith Yahawah. even so shall the Most High Power do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. Thy children shall die of hunger, and thou shalt fall through the sword. Thy cities shall be broken down, and all thine shall perish with the sword in the field. They that be in the mountains shall die of hunger, and eat their own flesh, and drink their own blood, for very hunger of bread and thirst of water. Thou as unhappy shalt come through the sea and receive plagues again, man. Look, man, this is about to get busy. It's about to get busy. It's about to get real out here, boy. You know what I'm saying? And these people through their excess of greed and lust and whatnot, they're about to receive the recompense. All right, so I pray this is edifying. I want to say, call Halayim La, Yahawah Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Yahawashi. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, of whom I've grown in this truth under. Shalom to the Akim out there that's pushing the truth, that's laboring in the word, and that's pushing the gospel of the great kingdom that's soon to come. Shalom to the Akwat that's listening in, that's remaining true to the faith and remaining faithful and submissive to their husbands and guiding their children. And shalom to the hopeful elect of the 12 tribes that scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. Peace and blessings to you all. Barakatah. Shalom.